let you guys jump in here before I get started. If you come in, go ahead and let me know you're here so I know I'm not going to talk to myself because I can't keep looking at the phone and drive. Got the nice aromatic scent of gasoline in here with me and stinky mud boots. Rough day. Very, very rough day. You guys get in here, let me know you're here. I can't stand those guys that get on the website or get on YouTube and they go live and they're just staring and they're staring and staring and staring and waiting and waiting and waiting. Who else doesn't like voice chat where you can look at somebody and talk to them on the telephone? I can't stand that. I hate that because I know that somebody's staring at me, and then I gotta stare back and try not to look like I'm not trying to avoid them. Can't stand this technology. I'm so sick of technology. We are one step closer to nuclear war today. The jackass President Biden is sending military troops to start bombing Iran. And we got these people like Nikki Haley who aren't born in this country, know nothing about this country. They hate this country and they'll say anything for the right amount of money, or other people like Lindsey Graham, who's a closet homosexual who doesn't have kids, so he doesn't care who he sends to war to die. Lindsey Graham's never met a war he didn't want to get people killed in. Every time there's a war going, Lindsey Graham says, we got to be in it. Same with Nancy Pelosi and all these war-loving communists. If Americans aren't ready to do the ultimate to change this, it's not going to change. I hate this traffic. Just saw a lovely illegal immigrant in a brand new Honda Accord, pretty as it could be, with her little bambino in her lap, like a 1-year-old, 2-year-old child in her lap driving. We stopped doing that in this country 20 years ago. But the people that shouldn't be here, they've been doing it their whole lives. So what's the difference? They don't have to follow traffic laws. All they got to do is get here and go, no speaking, no speaking, no speaking, no understand, no understand. I wish I could get off a traffic ticket by saying, no understand, no English. Anybody in here yet? Still nobody? I'm going to tell you about my rough morning. For all the trolls and the people that can't stand to see a working man, can't stand children who are the first to say, you ain't in your kids' lives. You don't spend time with your kids. You don't have them at all. Just got off an hour-long conversation with my youngest daughter because she calls me every day when she gets off work. She lives 5 minutes from me. And then I spent the morning with my other daughter at the doctor with my grandson. And boy, that was stressful, to say the very least. The little boy is on oxygen. He's still on oxygen. So you have to carry him around with an oxygen bottle and a monitor that monitors his oxygen and his heart rate. So it's a lot to carry for one person, especially my daughter, who's very petite. So she brings the oxygen bottle, and she brought a spare with her. Always brings a spare, but she just didn't think ahead about, hey, let's change so I don't have to do it later. So we're at the doctor this morning, and the worst doctor appointments are when they got to pull blood, because on the baby, they got to poke them in the heel, and then they take the foot, say this is the foot, and then they pinch it like it's and mash it up against the leg to mash the blood out. And I'm looking at it like, oh my God, that's got to hurt my kid. And the little girl, and here's another thing that pissed me off. We get into the doctor's office, and there's nothing but little Mexican nurses in there running around. They're not nurses, but little Mexican chicks running around the whole doctor's office. I'm like, well, where are all the little white girls at? Where are all the little black girls at? Well, you want me to tell you? They don't get free college. They have to pay for their own college. So they can't afford to go be nurses and doctors because the illegals get first chance. What's up, Miss Coral? So they get the illegals get the first chance at all the money. So this one Mexican chick comes in there. Rude. No, Mexican. Not Filipino, Mexican. This chick comes in and I'm standing beside my grandson. We got him up on the table. We had to take all his clothes off and he's got monitors on his feet that monitor his breathing and his pulse. So she walks in and she says, "You need to move." Not, "Oh, excuse me, I got to get in here." "You need to move." So I'm like, I looked at my daughter like, what the hell? So then I move, and it's just like everything she said was hateful. The way she said it was hateful. I mean, I don't expect to walk in there and somebody kiss my ass. But every way she talked to us was hateful. That ain't a good way to play with me when it comes to my children and my grandchildren, to be hateful like that. And my daughter, she's the newer generation, so she doesn't see anything wrong with illegal immigration. She's starting to realize it when I'm pointing it out that this is a literal invasion of your country. These people are taking what you've worked for, that your son deserves, and they're taking it, and they've got no time and no money invested in it. We build it, and they come. That's the American dream. Why is it they're the only ones living the American dream? And if you want to say that's racist, well, you can say that if you want to. Because it ain't one race, it ain't two races, it's all of them. 162 countries that have come here from all over the world, mostly third world countries. You cannot, and here's my reasoning and proof of what I'm saying. Look at California. They injected 10 million illegal immigrants the past 5 years into California, and it's the poorest state in the United States. It is like $70 trillion. California is $70 trillion in debt. $70 trillion. That's not true. America's only $100 trillion. Research it and see. They're not telling us, just like the actual numbers. They say, there's only 20 million illegal immigrants in America. They've said that since 1982, when the jackass Reagan brought them all over here. They worship Reagan like, Republicans worship Reagan like he was a god. He was an idiot who brought in crack cocaine, who brought in all the illegals, who brought in what else? Everything that caused us trauma the past 40 years, Reagan brought in. So here this chick is being rude, being hateful. They get all his blood work, get that done. And we had to undress the boy 4 different times. We had to take his clothes on, put his clothes off, take it off, take it on, put it on, back and forth, back and forth. So we finally get his clothes on, getting ready to go. And my daughter looks at the bottle, the oxygen bottle, and it says it's right at the red. And my daughter's got severe anxiety like me. She's like, "Oh my God, Dad, we got to change it." I said, "Well, okay, no big deal. Just tell me how to change it." "Well, I don't do it. Joey changes it when he's at home." I said, "Honey, you don't know how to change this out?" "Well, I've watched him do it 1,000 times, but I've never done it myself." I said, "Well, you need to know how to do this so you can show me." So as soon as you take the kid off, he doesn't have that extra oxygen anymore. It's done. So he has to breathe on his own. So, and at this whole time, as soon as you unplug the oxygen, then this machine is beeping. Beep, beep, beep. Because it's warning you there's no oxygen. So we're watching his oxygen at 100% drop. 100, 99. Literally like a bomb's going to go off when it gets to 0. So now I'm starting to panic. I'm trying to keep her cool. She's like, "Oh my God, Dad, I don't know what to do." So I hook it up. The way she tells me, it's not right. It's blowing freaking oxygen everywhere. I unhook it. It's blowing oxygen everywhere again. We can't get it to work. And now his oxygen is down to 70. I was like, "Honey, you need to call a nurse in here and tell them to get oxygen in here now if we can't get this hooked up." It keeps ticking down. Woo, 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 and it's getting louder and louder. And now I'm starting to freak out. So we talk to them. They're like, "Oh, we'll get an oxygen bottle." They look all around and there's no oxygen in the whole downstairs of the pediatric center. I'm like, "Well, somebody needs to find a bottle of oxygen now. We'll go upstairs." So then they go upstairs, counting down. So then it stops at like 69. And then the boy just takes over and he's breathing. He's doing what he can. But his lungs are just not, when they're born at 22 weeks, their lungs are the last thing to really develop. He had 2 doses of steroids to try to build up his lungs. as good as it could be, but it's still not. You know, he's still very young. If they give him too much oxygen, it can blow his lungs out, and then you got to watch out for RSV to set in. He beat pneumonia twice, so this boy is a survivor. But needless to say, me and my daughter were freaked out, and I'm trying to stay cool for her, and she's just letting it all hang out. She's freaking out. And then we got this little bitty doctor's room, like a 10 by 12, with 8 nurses in it, me and her and the baby, trying to figure out how to get this stupid oxygen to work. So finally, they bring the bottle down, get him hooked up, got him breathing again, and then I figure out the other oxygen, we get it on, and it was literally like I was holding my breath for a year. That took 20 years off my life this morning. It ruined me. It crushed me. So I just sat there with that boy and held him in my arms and stared at him for like 10 minutes and bawled my eyes out. Because it was my fault. I should have been able to figure it out, but never done it before, never touched it. I was just sitting there praying, just like when the chick was trying to get blood out of his foot. I stood there in the corner and prayed in tongues. Just kept praying in tongues to the Lord. I said, Lord Jesus, 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 calm him, give him peace. Let this moron nurse know what she's doing, Lord, in Jesus' name. Just kept praying and praying and praying. But yeah, that was traumatic. And my daughter looked at me, she said, Dad, are you crying? I said, yes, I am crying. I said, that freaking wrecked me. Because God forbid, if he wouldn't have breathed again, that's my fault. And my daughter wouldn't live through it, and I sure wouldn't live through it either. So, yeah, that's a traumatic. It's one of the most traumatic things I've been through in a very long time. Not ever, because I've been through the things that's happened to me. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. And I thank God, because whoever they say, God won't give you more than you can handle. Well, you don't know that. You don't know that. Because I've been dead 3 times. So, did I handle it? Or God just kept bringing me back? Which was it? I don't know. But, yeah, that's a rough day. And everybody just please pray with me and my family that my daughter's mother, my ex-wife, will get it together before she dies. Because she's a dope head when I live with her. And nobody believed me. I would tell everybody, she's on dope, she's robbing everybody I know, she robs my friends, she's robbing me, she's stealing my checks out of the mailbox. She wouldn't do that. She's an innocent girl. Look at her. She's so sweet. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I can prove to you she's a freaking rock gut thief. Oh, no, you're the bad guy because you're the biker and you ride motorcycles and you got in trouble years ago, so you're the bad guy. And I'm like, oh, my God. It was so bad. And I blame the court sister for this too. And my ex-wife went to Belk's with my oldest daughter when she was like 4. Went into Belk's and was stealing jewelry and putting it down my daughter's panties. Gets caught by the security. The security writes her up, brings the cops in, writes her out a ticket to appear in court. She shows up in court 2 months later. Gets in front of the judge. This is for theft. Gets in front of the judge. This is theft. And if a man did that, that would be contributing to the delinquency of a minor or child endangerment. But when you're a woman, when you're a woman, oh, she didn't mean to do it. My ex-wife got up there and cried in front of the judge and said, I just started taking Prozac and it made me steal. And the judge said, oh, honey, consist. And I'm like, what? What? You get caught stealing with your child and the doctor and the judge says, talk to a doctor? Yeah. So I always got screwed in the court system. I had a judge in social services court when an attorney I hired The judge fired him and said, you can't work for Mr. Penlong anymore. I'm like, what? I'm standing there like, what the hell's going on? And the judge is like, well, you can't show up for court when you're supposed to. I said, when was I supposed to show up for court? He said, well, you missed it last month. I said, I didn't miss court. I get subpoenas out of my mailbox. And that's when I learned that my ex-wife was driving by my house every day and taking my mail, my company checks, and my subpoenas out of the mailbox. So I would miss court. So if anybody's been wronged by the system, it's me. Anybody. It's me. I got stories that make your toes curl. So let's talk about the drone video. You know how tiresome it is to discuss this? How do you know that drone's following you? You know that there's a lot of people underneath that drone. You can't prove that drone stops when you stop, except it stops when I stop. You can't prove it's you, it's following. So when I'm by myself and it's right above me, it's not following me. You can't prove it's sitting on top of your house and then I put a video where the drone is literally right above my house. Well, you said it was literally on your house. So that drone didn't land on your roof of your house. I've got drone footage for 12 years. Drones were following me before the United States public knew there was any such thing as drones. What was that, Coral asked? What did you watch on the last stream? I can't remember. I have a horrible memory. The comments, I'm assuming. But yeah, I mean, it's just, how do you know? How do you know? Are you smoking with it? I'm not going to put up with that BS. You're smoking twink. Why don't you quit trying to be fashionable and call it methamphetamines like it is? God, how stupid these people are. So you got to be smoking dope to have the government surveilling you? Really? Well, you need to talk to every freaking right-leaning podcaster out there that's got the feds following them. Maybe ask Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, are you smoking tweak? Because they're watching you. Hey, Tucker Carlson, the CIA's watching you. Are you smoking tweak? See how stupid that sounds? It's infuriating how stupid these people are. Absolutely. I ain't got nothing to do all day long, but I'm going to search the interweb and I'm going to find somebody to make them feel bad so I can make myself feel good. It's just ridiculous, man. It is absolutely beyond anything I could imagine. You know, I've probably pissed away more money than most people ever make in their lives. And these same weasels, you don't do nothing. You don't spend time with your kids. Your youngest daughter don't live with you. Neither one of my daughters live with me. But I'm still there for them because that's what a parent's supposed to do. And I guess the majority of them never had a two-parent household. They've never been to church. They don't have a moral compass at all. So they have nothing to gauge morality because they don't care about morality. All they care about is, I'm going to say something cool to make you look bad so I can make myself feel better. Look at me go. Really? That's what you do? That's why a registry to be online is a bad idea. I mean, listen, anybody out there thinks that you can come online and hide your face and disguise your voice and the government doesn't know who you are, you've lost your mind. Okay? Did you know that Neuralink, Elon Musk, Neuralink, where he can read your mind, it went online yesterday. I've only been telling you that since I came on YouTube, that they can read your mind. And even up to last week. Well, you need to tell me, give me a link where that's true, because I don't believe that's happening. What? These are the same people that can accuse me of smoking twink that can't name the president, the vice president, the speaker of the house. They can't name the three houses of our government. They can't even name that. The basics. Hey, okay, let's not do that. Let's not do hard questions like government. Let's do the basics. What is in oxygen? What's oxygen? Oh, I don't know. Oxygen is the air we breathe. Huh, dumb tweaker? I've got my big square body truck. I took it offline for a while because I just got tired of all the foolishness. So I put it back up last week, and it's got like 3,600 views. And people are so flawed. Facebook Marketplace doesn't have a specific description of every vehicle. So you pick the one that's closest to describe what you got, and then you put it in the description what it is. So I put on there everything about it, and this guy texts me, "Hey man, you need to go outside." And this is, of course, like a 19-year-old. Because listen, back when I grew up, we didn't have the internet. There and pop your mouth off like social media accounts. "Hey man, I'm gonna call him a drug addict online, and he can't find me to do anything about it. Ha 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 ha! Look what I did, man! I called him a tweaker." So this kid, "Hey man, you need to go outside your house right now, and you need to count the lug nuts on that truck, because you said it's a 2500 and they didn't make a 2500 in 86. That was the closest to the description of the truck I was selling. People that read my ad. He was the only one. Now, every other person that knows what they're buying and looking at my truck, they know what this truck is. It's a half-ton, four-wheel drive, long bed, Chevy square body truck. It's that simple. But on Facebook Marketplace, you have to pick exactly what you have to pick something close to what it is, because they don't have. So I texted back. I said, "You are the one and only person out of 3,200 people who wanted to bump their gums to try to make themselves feel better about themselves, because their IQ must be that low that they think they're smarter than 3,200 people of the world." It is just so bizarre to me how fast this country is collapsing under the weight of stupidity. I am all for clearing the voter rolls, and if you can't pass a simple civics test in English, you shouldn't be allowed to vote. If you don't have a driver's license, you shouldn't be allowed to vote. If you don't have a picture ID, a driver's license, screw a picture ID. If you're not driving on the roads of America, you shouldn't be allowed to vote for what people like me who have to live on these highways. You shouldn't be allowed to have your voice heard. I'm sorry. Because it's these people, and it's majority Democrat voters who know nothing about America. All they know is feelings. I want to murder my baby. And the only way to do that and murder my baby is a Democrat. I got to vote for a Democrat because we want to murder babies. Have you ever realized, guys, the ones who scream the loudest about murdering babies usually are fat dykes who can't even get pregnant because they won't bed a man? Have you noticed that? I've noticed it. I've noticed that. Have you noticed that? Because I've noticed that. So the chat's kind of dried up. Nobody's chatting anymore. So I got to go where I've got to go. And I'll check back with you. You guys have a good day. See ya.